I go on every single practice with purpose. Yes, coach is going to have the format. Yes, coach probably sees something and they might make that a focus of practice that everyone needs to get better on. But you for sure need to get an inch better every day. It's like, man, I'm really struggling to get my opposite side attack. I really need to make this to this practice focus or the week or whatever it might be or months. But every practice going there with a plan that I'm going to get specifically better at this and actually grow instead of just going to practice being blind and just walking. Yeah, you worked really hard, but did you get any better? Everyone's working hard. Everyone in the country is working hard, man. There's a lot of people working hard. So it's like, what are you doing to actually get better? Take the time to get better and develop yourself.
Christian was the #1 pound-for-pound wrestler in the class of 2023. He was a U20 World Team Member, a 2-time Super 32 champ, and a junior freestyle national champ. But what does that guarantee you? As Christian came to find out, absolutely nothing. Originating from Elkhart, Indiana, Christian spent a year at both Oklahoma State and Iowa State. Things seemed to be going a little sideways for him, but with the support of his inner circle, Christian has found a home in Laramie at the University of Wyoming and seems to be the best version of himself. I'm Kelby Bachman, and this is Let's Talk Wrestling. In the heart of West Union, Iowa, lies a hidden gem in Euphoria Coffee. Owned by local residents Nicole and Shane Havenstreit, they source everything they can from local vendors. From hot and iced drinks, to savory breakfast burritos, to baked goods, to botany tea, and even homemade waffles, Euphoria Coffee is a place your entire family can enjoy. You can find more information at drinkeuphoriacoffee2go.com or visit their Facebook page. And we also have a special gift just for you. Next time you stop in, you can get a free baked good with a $20 purchase. Just mention the Let's Talk Wrestling podcast. Euphoria Coffee. Our purpose is deeper than coffee. So how's it going? What you been up to besides wrestling? What have you been up to?
Not much. I mean, outside that, it's kind of just we're in that season, so everything's the thick of it. But I guess to be outside that, just we just wound down school, so which is nice. Got all the finals, everything knocked out of the way. But outside that, just made a little bit of working out like on my own, and made some hiking, some cooking, some
Yeah.
stuff. But that's about it.
Where do you? I bet the hiking's really nice up there in Laramie, or at least in the area, right? Right?
For sure, it's beautiful. You can drive 10 minutes and you're in the middle of the mountains. So we're in the valley part, I guess. Essentially, we're surrounded by two. But there's a place called Vita Vu, which is crazy rock formations to the left of me, and then to the right of me, I got the Snowy Range Mountains. So
Yeah. Are you much for like skiing or snowboarding?
I'm trying to get into that stuff. Just because where I was from, I didn't have the opportunities to, snowboard as much. And we had a little bit, so I've done a little bit, but not like the stretch of these people out here. So I'm trying to get into it.
Yeah. What else do you do for fun? I mean, I'm sure there's endless amount. Like if you're outdoorsy, like there's endless amounts of things you can do. But what else besides that? Just to kind of get your mind right and just your body right, and just take a break from wrestling.
For sure. I think outside maybe like that outdoorsy stuff and hunting and all that stuff. I think just traveling in general. I'll sometimes shit now with my girlfriend to like Fort Collins, which is about an hour away, or Denver, a couple hours.
Okay.
Get in the city. There's a lot of cool stuff to do. Just a different world from Laramie, for a little bit.
Yeah.
I don't like being there too long. I like getting back to Laramie, but it's a nice break and different pace, different atmosphere for sure.
Yeah, because you're from Elkhart, Indiana,
Yeah,
correct?
yeah.
Which I looked it up, and that's like, how close is that to South Bend? It looks
So it's
relatively.
about 10 minutes.
Oh,
About 10.
really?
And yeah.
So did you grow up a Notre Dame fan?
So most people do. I guess kind of was. I wasn't too gung ho about them. I wish they still had the wrestling program, which would be sweet. But
Yeah.
we actually had the last coach there was in our high school room, and he was the national champ for Iowa. And his brother was Olympic champ, but McCann.
Wow.
But they both wrestled for Iowa University. But yeah, so it's crazy that we had the last Notre Dame wrestling coach in our high school room. Kind of small world, but that'd be sweet if they still had wrestling. I feel like they'd be easy to recruit guys just because it's Notre Dame. But
Yeah.
so I grew up a little bit Irish fan. I wasn't too gung ho about them just because I don't know. That just wasn't my preference. Everyone loved them, and maybe I wanted to be a little bit different. But no, for sure, I rooted for them.
Yeah. So, what'd you think about the playoff then? Huh?
That was interesting. I don't like the not participating in a bowl, especially when uh, it's just it's kind of like throwing a fit type mentality. I don't
Yeah,
like that. Just be grateful for the opportunities you have. Like, yeah, you didn't get in the bowl. Um, there's a lot of ways to fix that. Don't lose. You know,
right.
everything's in your
Yeah,
control. So, control the controllables, but it's real simple. Just keep winning, you won't have that problem. But
yeah,
I think it's interesting how they decided to back out. It's not my mentality, not how I was raised, or I think it's kind of a bad look, and just and a lot of teams are doing it. We're starting to see a lot. I think there's like
right.
they're pulling out of the bowl. It's just like when I went to University of Wyoming, which were two ways to win from making a bowl. It's like some people would be very fortunate just to go to bowl. So
Yeah,
for me, in my eyes, I just think it's like it's whatever. If you think you're that good, which you're not, you didn't make the playoffs. So it's just
yeah,
I just think it's frustrating. But yeah,
yeah. Did you play football then growing up or any other sports?
a little bit. I think I got done football around sixth grade. At that point, I got with my father, and he's kind of like, "Hey, you have to make a decision here. Like, it's kind of the time in your life you got to go all in wrestling or all in football, one of the two." And just kind of look at my stature then. I mean, we couldn't predict the future, but like, yeah,
Was
we're probably gonna go the wrestling route.
so you said you couldn't predict the future, so were you like on the smaller end of the scale then? Like
Yeah, smaller,
really?
you're just my athleticism, a lot of things. Obviously, you're young at that time, you can't tell, but also my love was with wrestling more.
Really?
I didn't have it. I wasn't really attached to football as much. I mean, I enjoyed it, and I thought I was a solid player for sure, but it just wasn't my forte in the sense of love or passion for it. So definitely went the wrestling route, and uh, there's more money in football. You could argue, and depending on
Yeah.
where you're at and who you are, but for me, ultimately, wrestling was just a lot more fun. The grind's a lot harder, but it was something I was a lot more passionate about.
Did you ever did you ever play basketball? Because Indiana, I mean, it's known as like the basketball state, you know what I
Yeah,
mean?
for sure, for sure. No, it's definitely the basketball state. Now the football state.
I guess so.
but no, absolutely not. Never. Not a day in my life. Uh,
Really? Never.
yeah, no, no.
Okay.
My dad strayed me away from that. So looking back, thank God.
Yeah.
Definitely not for me. But no, all my buddies I had a lot of teammates that wrestled that played it growing up. This that
Mhm.
because it's Indiana, right? So,
Right.
but no, thank you. I'm happy and proud to say I didn't touch that. So.
What was it about wrestling? Like, was it a family thing that like just everybody in your family does it, or like how did you
It's just me and my family.
really?
I fell in love with, and I think more of my coaches and the environment I was surrounded with around the time period. I had a father that he just got into it really late, not until late in high school, so he didn't really have it growing up. And so when I was 3 years old, my dad got this old VCR tape, and it was called Dan Gable Ultimate, and it had like Terror Brands, the Steiner brothers, all these people, and they're like doing all these stadiums. And I remember Terry Steiner, or maybe it's Thomas, bro. I can't remember. One of the Steiner brothers was going like, "Win or lose, I'm going to make him go through hell." And he just like
Yeah.
beady eyes, and I was just like, "I want to be that guy." And my dad's like, "You sure?" I was like, and I was 3 years, so I was like, "Yeah," not knowing what I was going to get into, 15 years later in my life, but. No, so I just kind of always had that drive and that passion. I think just the mentality of the sport, watch all the videos growing up, and just like I feel like you could definitely see a separation on the mental aspect of things from other sports. You still got football, basketball, these team sports. You can blame anyone you want, right? So it's like
Mhm.
people want to say, "Oh, you can blame the quarterback," yeah, but you can blame your defense because they put points up on the board. So in wrestling, you're the only one out there. You have nobody fall back on you. You fell, it's because it's on you. You got to go get better. So I think just that different mentality and aspect, and I think I saw in the early stages of how it was building my character, my life, my work ethic through sport
Mhm.
wrestling. So I think with all the motivation, the videos, the right coaches I was around, I just was so bought into the sport that it just made perfect sense for me, and nothing else was going to fit me better than wrestling.
Who did you watch growing up? Like, I'm curious because like as you got older, you got a little bigger, and so you probably did you start to watch heavier weight guys like Sajalayev or you know
Yeah, for sure. Like I watched some of the heavier guys, of course, like Sajalayev. But I was always, I mean, I don't know. I had a lightweight coach growing up.
yeah
Chris Fleeger. He's a 125 pounder, 133 in college, two-time NCAA runner-up, bronze world medalist. So I kind of just always gravitate. So I was like more as a Haji Alayef guy from Azerbaijan. I'm trying to think who else. I like Islam Muskayev.
Oh
Just,
yeah.
they're just those styles are just so explosive and so crazy that I just like. I just always like the lighter weight guys. I think they're a lot more fun to Oda Guru. I just think those guys are a lot more fun to watch.
Mhm.
Now, obviously, if you want to go technical side, you say Bruce Savar, Satiev, which is
Yeah.
range, but which is probably the best technician to ever walk on. Debatable to walk on the mat, but he's just so fluent and so slick in how he did stuff and just made it look so easy. And he didn't look like he had athletic, bone in his body.
No. No.
He just would take guys and make them look like chumps. So, definitely those guys, for sure. Definitely, yeah. I guess the lighter weight guys. I try to translate and mimic that style to the upper weights. And I think that's why Sagil Life is so successful. You see him take a shot and he cartwheels out of it or something crazy. So or
Yeah.
the other guy takes a shot. It's like I think his style matched up so well because obviously he was 86 kilograms and moved up to 97 kilograms, but he just wrestled like a cat, like a lightweight, and he's really
Mhm.
agile. And I think having a lightweight coach growing up and watching these guys, I just try and mimic that style and try to translate to a style of upper weights when the mobility's less, the speed's less, the technique's less, the arsenal's smaller. So yeah, so always smaller guys. Yeah,
Mhm. That makes sense then, because like when I watch you wrestle, I mean, I think one of our guys even commented and said like your high crotch is faster than theirs, and they're like 133 pounder.
yeah,
So you found a good morph of using that lightweightness to your advantage growing up and now using it now, but also translating it to heavier, to like the heavier weights. Like, did you find that to be challenging at first? Like,
for sure. Like I think it's so hard to explain, but heavyweight is almost a different style of wrestling, at least on the collegiate level. High
yeah,
school is different. I could go when I was number one in the country. I could go take down anyone I want whenever I felt like it. I could be on the
yeah,
back burner. It's like, okay, I'm going to go now. I'm going to get it. College is a little different. I think the hand fighting's a lot harder. I think, especially the really, really big guys, you get caught underneath, you're screwed. Like those hips are heavy. You're not blowing through. 97 pounder, I could blow through all day. Those guys, their hips are too big. Like the Navy kid I wrestled, they're just so big that it's like you got to get up and out underneath them. So I had to make adjustments in the last 2 years of college um, to kind of just figure them out. Like I can't get stuck. I don't want to be under, but I can still use my high crotch. So I used to penetrate a lot more up and into them. And now it kind of seems really weird, but I kind of
mhm,
go in and out and try, on my high crotch just to make sure I'm kind of getting under. It's almost a variation of obviously people say super duck high crotch, but in
mhm.
my head I'm thinking kind of knee pull coming out, then coming around a little bit, which it's still kind of a hybrid of all three of those, but we had to make those adjustments where it's like, how can I utilize the speed but not get stomped and stuffed really quickly? So,
Yeah.
and just I realized now I need a hand fight more, wear these guys out, and stuff starts opening up in the third period. That's kind of what happened in the Penn State match. He knew a lot of people know my shots coming, and I'm starting to really develop my opposite side attack, which is really important. But I just kept hand fighting him, and until he started breaking his position down, started getting worn out, and then bam, when I hit it, it was like butter. It was just a lot easier.
Mhm.
So, just being patient, because in high school, like I said, I could take down basically anyone I wanted whenever I felt like it. When I was number one in the country, and that high school to college level is two different worlds in position. So I had to learn how to break down this guy's positioning, be patient, and just tell myself mentally, like, hey, it's okay if you don't get a takedown the first 20 seconds. Now, everyone probably drills like that. I drill like that. I want to put points up on the board, but it's okay to, if it's not 100% there, it's like you don't need to pull the trigger right away. Break his position down, wear him out, and go ahead and take a shot. But
That seems like a lot to learn, honestly. Like, going from being able to take anybody down whenever you want to being like, okay, I have to be a little more strategic, and also to put away that shot clock in your head. Like, gosh, it's been 20, 30, 40 seconds. I need to get a takedown. It's like, well, pump the brakes a little bit. Like, how long did that take you to put all that together? Like, this is
yeah,
really interesting stuff that you're talking about, because even your shot, you had to kind of morph your shot a little bit, like that's not easy to do.
no, it's not, especially when you've been doing it your whole life.
Exactly.
Really hard. It's just a lot of time. I think actually the biggest growth I got through the sport of wrestling was not on the mat. It's probably through injuries and just sitting back and looking back. I think maybe my
Really
confidence
interesting.
skill. I think I just maybe I'm lucky, and I think obviously it takes time for stuff for me to develop, but I think I can comprehend stuff. Maybe it's just easier when I do take a seat back, and I really ponder a lot, just sitting down in my bed, sitting on the couch, like when you become obsessed with the sport, you think about the sport all the time. This is all you're doing. It's your life. It's like you start putting theories in your head, this, that. And I have a father that wasn't like I said, he started late. Really, he's not a technician guy, not like real crazy in the sport. But he asked me a lot of questions that are like really outside the box. And some people can take that and be like, oh, that's a stupid idea. Or some people can like look like and like, man, I don't know, that might work. And that's way outside the realms of what I'm thinking, but it might work. And I always live by the motto, eat the meat and spit out the bones. So I've heard a lot. I've had thousands of coaches through my lifetime, high school clubs, this, that, transferring schools. You can pick up things from everyone. You can pick up the guy that's never won a state title in high school, and he just says something right that your other coach has been telling you the whole time, but you just can't comprehend it. But he says it just the right way, and it finally clicks in your head. And it's like an aha moment. I had some of those times. My coach was like, "Look what I learned." He's like, "Dude, I'm trying to tell you that the last 5 years. What are you talking about?" Like, it's just because this guy, the way he worded it. So I think just the mentality of being very, very open minded, no matter who's giving the information. And that's why I said, eat the meat, whatever you can take. I'm not saying you're going to take everything because nobody takes everything from everyone. But if you like something, really apply it and adapt it, eat the meat and spit out the bones. Whatever you don't like, then so be it. But if you can take again an inch here, again, inch here, inch here, and just be very open minded and just be a sponge and try to absorb everything and not have an ego and think you know everything in sport. I think that just helps elevate your wrestling and develop it, your arsenal and your technique skills a lot better.
Yeah, that's very well said. Um, you said you had kind of a lot of coaches growing up. Did you grow up in Elkhart, Indiana then, or did
Yeah,
you?
so I
Okay,
lived in that house, but we commuted a lot for all my training most of the
gotcha.
time. So,
Okay.
which is crazy. So, it's kind of a wild story. My dad commuted to Chicago every day, and that was 2 hours from my house in Elkhart. So he'd drive 2 hours to Chicago, work all day. At 4 in the morning, he'd leave, come back 2 hours, pick me up, drive me 2 hours down to Purdue, train at Purdue, then drive 2 hours back and repeat the day.
Wow,
Yes, my same
that's
thing.
8 hours of just
Yes.
driving.
Yeah, of just driving. Yes, yes. My dad was a madman. He was crazy. So he put a lot of effort in me. More fortunate. Like I've told him, like I better get good because there's no way in hell I'm doing that for my kids. you know, you know. But jokingly, my dad sacrificed a lot, his time. Putting his job on the line, doing that stuff. Away from other family members and stuff like that. So he put a lot of effort and focus into me, and I think that's also just motivation to try to get better as well. Back to what we're talking about, but
Yeah.
so we always commute a lot. I went to a lot of clubs in the Chicagoland area growing up as a kid. Also called the Region. So a little part of Indiana is actually cut out
Mhm.
towards Chicago, and that's actually on Chicago time or Central time. So that's called the region of the state. And so we trained a lot of schools there, like Crown Point, which is like number 5 school in the country. Like Jesse Mendez came out of there. A
Yeah.
bunch of guys came out of there. So Sergio Lemley in that area, a lot of those guys
Mhm.
are big schools, Power Five schools now are ranked high. So there's clubs around there. Then my coach, my club, my main club, Midwest RTC, which is coached by Chris Fleer, who's a two-time NCAA runner-up. He only wrestled 3 college seasons. His only 3 losses were to multiple-time NCAA champs. So Stephen Abbas, Travis Lee, who's a two-timer, and then Matt Valenti, who tech throughout the season, but lost him in the finals of NCAA. So
Jeez.
uh, he's really good. He's a really good technician for Purdue, and he coached at Purdue for a while. And then their coach, he wasn't a head coach, but the guy above him got fired, so they scrapped the staff. And then he went and coached at Cumberland University, which was the worst in high school, and 2 years brought him to national champs. So
Wow.
he's just really good at developing. And I mean, we saw it in our club. Like we had guys that were didn't place at state. We had this kid named Joe Walker. I don't think he ever placed at state until his senior year, and he won it. But he went to not placing at state to taking third at Super 32 the next year. And then we had a kid, Graham Calhoun, never won a state title. Then he had placing at Super 32. Joe's at Michigan wrestling. Graham went to Wisconsin. Then he transferred out to a smaller school. Um, we had me. We had Sergio would train there. Lemley. Now he's at Michigan. Mendez would come a little bit here and there. Trying to think of other top guys that come out of our club, but we have a lot of guys in Indiana, Purdue right now wrestling. And then we had a kid that just committed to Penn State. His name is Clinton Shepard. His whole life was basically through my club. He trains at Andrew House Club now, but basically all the way up until this last year, he's been at Midwest. So we just have a lot of top guys, and now we have like three or four nationally ranked guys in the top five in the country
Mhm.
in our club. And we just started this club 4 years ago, you know. So I didn't have Coach Flager until my freshman year of high school. Oh, so
Mhm.
like been 6 years now, but
Yeah.
I didn't have my coach until my freshman year of high school. And I was so raw technically, but he had this really good hand fighting system, and I developed it in a lot of areas. And we spent a lot of time training. Like we trained for hours on end, and every day through the summer, whatever it might be. He was there when we are training, and I just thought his approach to wrestling was really smart. As crazy as it sounds, I think the best shape I've ever been in was actually in high school. I don't think I've been as good a shape in college,
Oh, really?
just because we never ran. We never ran once.
Mhm.
I just felt these no running, but we had these cycle up bikes that push you hard. We had a salmon ladder, we had a Bursa climber, and we trained really, really hard. He said your drilling should be a lot harder than your lives, so we drill really, really hard. Once you got the technical skills down, so we do what's called hard drill, and it was a hard drill. Like you just went as hard as you can, and then when you went live, we went live, and it just my cardio was such good wrestling shape, really, really
Mhm.
good wrestling shape. And I think his philosophy, his system is one of the best to this day. I think you could put him at any Big Ten school and he'd have a lot of success. Obviously, he has accolades to back it up, but
Yeah.
also just his system, I think, is really tough.
Yeah, why didn't you move to Chicago or somewhere closer to Chicago so your dad wasn't driving as far? Like I'm curious what made you.
Yeah, so that was a lot of things. So we actually did get a house and we ended up packing out. Um, there was a lot of things at the time going on with my family. They ended up
Mhm.
having fallen out, but I think just through that, all my siblings were starting to graduate high school. Everyone wanted to just finish their school, yada yada.
Yeah.
I did commute to my school, so I was the
How
one.
far?
It was about 40 minutes one way.
Wow.
Yeah, and they started on a different time. They started at like 7 in the morning. It drove me nuts. But so I had to drive early, go there. So I drive, and that's where my club was, my main club,
Yeah.
RTC. So I drive there. Sometimes Fleeger would have morning workouts when we go to school, but majority of the time, because I was driving so far, I go to school, go to practice, then I'd go to club practice after practice, and to make up because I couldn't work out in the morning, and then
Hmm.
lift there. If you want to lift there, if not, I'd go lift with my lifting group. But it was a crazy experience in high school.
Yeah.
I felt like it was hard, but in all those times, I think it was one of the greatest times of my life. Like just like especially now, obviously in college, this stuff's a lot of fun, but just like looking back, like I had so much fun. Like I was so confident in my training, and just the way we did stuff, the amount we trained. And plus, our coaches just made it a lot of fun. Like we'd do stuff, and then we go to the beach. Like like in the summertime, we'd be like, okay, we'll
Mhm.
just go run up to the dunes, and we'll go to the beach after we just had this 6 hour practice, 3 sessions of 2 hours, in one day on a Sunday. So it's like he'd make it fun. We'd do a lot of things, and he'd mess around all the time throughout practice, just like to get the more. We train hard, but he'd always like have something funny to say.
Mhm.
He created a really good environment, but we worked really freaking hard.
Mhm.
But yeah, it was just one of the funnest times of my life, because I just saw myself developing. Maybe it's because maybe develop a little bit slower in college, or some people are faster, but it's just so fun seeing these leaps and jumps, and I feel like I'm starting to do that now again. But it was just a lot of fun. I don't know, it's just
Yeah.
one of the best times of my life. So
Yeah, like when you talk to people, or at least like even NFL players or even college players now, like football players, they always say their best moments that they can think of are like Friday Night Lights. So
yeah,
like high school times can be some of the best times of your life when you're just like you're kind of free in a way. You don't have that responsibility and it's just you and your high school buddies. You don't really know what you're doing, but you kind of do. And
yeah,
like it just seems like just so freeing, I guess is the word I'll use for that. It's like
definitely.
no responsibilities,
That's right.
and having fun,
Mom and dad still paying
naive.
for everything, so
Yeah, yeah. Mom, dad paying for everything. Um,
yeah.
gosh, yeah. So you drove 40 minutes in the morning. How did that work in the winter time? Did that just like totally suck?
So it was miserable because I lived on one of the worst roads in the state, let alone the country, called
Yeah.
20 bypass, which is known for the amount of deaths is actually unbelievable. And
Oh, really?
yeah, so it was really tough in the winter times to get there, and I have to leave a lot earlier. But so what sucks is we had the Great Lakes, and where
Yeah.
I lived, the lake effect, it would drop about 40 minutes east where I lived and just hammer us. So we get hammered. So it sucked getting out, but once I kind of got out through my area, it wasn't as bad. But still, even around that school area, it'd get hammered a lot. So when it was really bad, they pretty much canceled school. Just
Yeah. When did so the you're telling this story here about all the stuff you did. Did burnout ever start to set in? Like it's easy from the outside to hear people hear this and go, "How did you how why did you keep going?" Like this seems
Yeah.
like a lot for a high school kid.
Yeah, it definitely was traveling, like the school, like getting home late because I lose
Yeah.
an hour when I go home back into my time. So it's like everything kind of it was tough and it was wearing mentally on me a little bit, but kind of looking back, like it's just I don't know the fun, the development maybe was outweighing it, but it was
Mhm.
tough for sure. And I don't want to make it seem like I was just streaming through this and everything. Life was great. No, it was you definitely have tough moments, but I think all depends the character of the sport team you have around you because you can make or you can break, right? So you got two
Mhm.
options, to fight or flight, and I think just to keep punching and keep going and that's really the only option I had. I think I was really motivated, just for having the wanting the success. Now you're not going to be motivated every day. There's gonna be days you're like I don't even want to be here right now, but that's the whole point. Discipline, doing what you don't want to do when you have to go do it. So I think just having that discipline. And there's a lot of days like I don't want to be here. This stinks, but I knew long term is going to pay off. And there's a lot of days that were good, but it wasn't obviously like candy. But I think just having this big goal, you have such a short period of time in your life, in this world, wrestling world, right? This isn't something we can go do when we're 50 or 40. Like you still see NFL players, quarterbacks doing, you can't do the sport of wrestling like that. The training wise,
Mhm.
maybe the competing you probably could if our training wasn't this intense, but it's just you physically can't keep up at a certain age. So and you see that on the highest level, right? Some of those old guys are starting to lose. Like he was the GOAT, and it's like, well, they're getting older, man. They're out of their prime.
Yeah.
So, I think just realizing like it's only 4 years, or 4 years of high school, 4 years of college, and I know it seems like such a long time, and it goes by so freaking quick. I'm looking at all these club kids that I just were so big when I was coming out of high school, and now they're top in the country. I'm like, holy crap, this is insane! And they're graduating, they're committing to colleges, and it's like such a cool experience to watch because you get to watch them grow up. As I'm growing up, obviously I'm young, but
Yeah.
um, such a cool experience. But I just put it in perspective. It's like I think I just look at my family and how much effort and sacrifice they put into me. And I know everyone's like, "Oh, you got to do it for yourself, do it, yada yada." But I personally don't believe in there's such thing as a self-made man. I know so many people that's
Yeah.
been like at the very bottom, everything goes wrong for them. They could be in debt, they could be this, that, but someone along the way, not they could have just talked to them, could have helped them, even a short period of time, but someone along the way helped them in some sort of way or some sort of form. Um, I know there's some kids that are rough, no parents, but this guy helped them. This guy, said these words or motivate them or in that click. So I think there's always help. Now it could be very, very minimal, but I think people do help. And I think just having that family background, that support, the amount of effort my dad put in, the amount of time, the amount of money, the sacrifices my siblings had made, traveling, the sacrifice my mom had made from, my dad going to practice and to spend time with her, whatever it might be. So you look at all these motivations around you and how much people put sacrifice just because they love you. Not because obviously there's times I'm sure they didn't feel like they wanted to, but and
Mhm.
that's it's just like looking at that's like man they're very selfless. So to not be motivated, at least in my stance and how I was raised, would be almost impossible. So for me, it's like I want to be the best. It's not. I know everyone's like you got to do it for yourself. It's not. Nobody's living through me. It's just like I had so much love and so much support in my family. It's like I want to go achieve this dream. I made it this far. It's like there's no way I'm backing out now. So
Mhm. Yeah, and you have a relatively big family. You have
yeah,
five siblings, right?
yes,
So you
five.
so you have six altogether. There's six
Yes,
of you.
3 girls, 3 boys.
Three girls, three boys. Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah. So, what was that dynamic like of just having all these kids running around?
it I can say there's never a dull moment for
Yeah.
sure. Um, it was a lot of fun growing up. I think um, looking back, you learn to share. You learn that you don't always get stuff handed
Hmm.
to you. Luckily, I was the baby, so I probably got a little bit more on the being baby to get what I
You're the
wanted. But
youngest. Okay.
yeah, yeah, the youngest, and so which was really cool. But I think it just learns you how to the principles of sharing. The world doesn't revolve around you. Just being open, but it was a lot of fun. I mean, it was a lot of fun. I mean, my brothers, they weren't big into wrestling. They played football. My oldest one, he's a wine sommelier. The other
He's a
one's
what?
wine sommelier.
Really?
Yes, yes, yeah. But he does. Yep.
Where's he live?
So he lives right now back in my hometown, but he has to travel for that. And
Okay.
for level 4, which is the highest level, He has to go live in Italy for 6 months. So right now he just had he just had a girl. He has a boy, just had that girl not that long ago. So he's just kind of staying at home and
Mhm.
kind of working and doing the family stuff right now. But
Yeah.
at some point in his career, he's going to try to be at the last level of sommelier, but which is really cool. Kind of a
Yeah.
like, nobody in our family is kind of like, I don't want to say it was a curveball, but it's like, okay, like that's cool. like nobody was into wine at all. So it's like, okay, that's cool. And he really was passionate about it. For him, and he kind of explained to me, and I kind of like not dive into it because that's not my world, but I try to hear what he says and stuff, and it's really
Yeah.
interesting. He's smarter. He's really witty about it, and he's very passionate about it. So him, and then I have my other brothers in special ops. He's stationed in DC right now. He used to beat the heck out of me growing up as a kid. So, makes sense for him, but he's
Mhm.
really cool, very inspiring as well. Just because they took two things they were passionate about and ran with it. Like his whole life, my brother wanted to be in the military, so and that was his thing, and he went for it, and he's moved his way up pretty high. And then same thing with my brother. Once he got passionate about that, so just trying to look at them and like how passionate they were about their dreams, and just be motivated about mine as well. Just be passionate about it. Try to do everything to have success at it. Then my sisters, they're all married. They all graduated college. They're all out, living their
Mhm.
lives. They're living their best life.
Yeah.
Trying to.
Nice. I also saw you changed your name to Christian Christmas Carol.
Yeah, a while back. Yeah.
Yeah, was that or is that like your nickname? Did somebody give
Yeah,
that to
that
you?
was is people like at school would just call me Christmas, or because it was just kind of funny, or they'd like
Yeah.
come Christmas, or like it kind of just like stuck with me, and it kind of ran in my club. But Coach Figure had 1,000 nicknames for everyone, so mine was it was like Christmas, it was Big C, it was Golden Corral, was
Okay.
yeah, he has a couple other ones, but he's always had something. So it kind of stuck, and it was like, yeah, I was like, everyone already calls it this, so I'm gonna throw it in there. And
Yeah.
but yeah, I know a lot of people are like, are you gonna run with it? Is this gonna use this as your persona or brand, kind of brand yourself? But I don't think it'd be really hard to brand myself that way. But
Yeah.
yeah, no, I just thought it was kind of something that was cool that stuck with me, and it was kind of just more of a, no, I wouldn't say personal, but sentimental thing.
Yeah. And tis the season, right? I
For
mean,
sure, that's right. That's right. Luck's on my side.
yeah, and maybe you could get an NIL deal with Golden Corral,
That'd be
I don't
sweet.
know. So
For sure.
um when did you start realizing, that you were starting to get pretty good at this wrestling thing? Because like you said, you were the number one pound for pound guy coming out
Yeah.
of high school. Like, when did that start to sink in? Like, holy shit, I guess
Yeah.
I'm good. I'm kind of good.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. No, I think it's still hard even to convince yourself like there's so many goals and the sport has so many levels, so it's hard to ever think that, but like to realize like I can make it on this level was the point of um it was before I ever got ranked. My coach took me out to Quest because he's from Pennsylvania originally and
Mhm.
from that area. We went to Quest. They had some nationally ranked guys there, and number two, one came out number one, but was already at Princeton. So some top ranked guys. I just got off knee surgery my freshman year. Didn't wrestle the whole season. And sophomore year, I trained all that summer and all that stuff, and I started getting pretty good. And I started rolling with these guys, and I was like, "Dang, I'm neck and neck with these guys." I'm like, "I'm getting pretty good." Like these guys number two in the country. Like, is he like dogging in practice, or is he like, or am I this good? So, I started realizing like, well, I can beat these top guys, and then 2 weeks later, once I could, that was probably one of the greatest things that happened to me because 2 weeks later I went to GFC and I had the number four guy and number 10 guy in the country. I was not ranked, nothing, nobody, and I majored the number four guy in the country, beat the number 10 in overtime, and then I got ranked like 15th, and then I was like, man, I'm still pretty good. I know I can do this. And then went to Super 32, and then I pinned both my guys right away. Course, I had another ranked guy who's like maybe 13 or something, beat him steadily. And then this semis or something, I had like number three or something like that, beat him. And then in the finals, I ended up beating another top ranked number five guy. So I think just that experience, because I mean, I lived in Indiana. There's no upper weights really ranked.
Mhm.
We didn't have really a gauge outside the state champ, unless we had to go travel. So I think having that experience, realizing like, whoa, I can hang with these guys, and it was just a really good test. And that's what kind of gave me that confidence, like, hey, I can do this. And and obviously I had a high level coach that brought me confidence, right? So it's like he has these accolades. So I was like, I trust and bought into the system. And when I had that test, it kind of was just eye opening. And then he's like, dude, you could do really good. And he would preach to me and just kind of brainwash me. I think that's part of it was him just sitting there brainwashing me all the time. Like, cause I didn't know what I was. I didn't know how good I was, I beat some
Yeah.
guy in my club room. That's not really saying much. So, until he kept telling like, dude, you're good over and over and just kind of brainwashing me, even if I wasn't, I don't know, but he still would brainwash me and was very positive, and that kind of was just a contagious feeling. And then you started to buy in. And I think that's why some of these programs, Penn State, some of these people, they just, I don't know what they're preaching. I don't know the formula they have, but people are buying in. And I think if you can get guys to buy in, that ground is just, that atmosphere is it's waiting to breed success.
Mm-hmm. Did did being that, being the number one pound for pound, did that sort of give you a brighter spotlight than you could have imagined? Where all of a sudden now you're just getting drug in all these different ways, like, hey, come to this school, you can do this, like all
For
these people trying to get at you because you're the guy, the best guy.
Yeah, yeah. I think opportunities, doors definitely opened a lot more. So I'd get we'd go out places, start flying out places to go train and stuff like that. People wanted you just in their door in the room, which is really cool. Just to be at certain camps or whatever it might be, people wanted you. I think the spotlight. So I think the biggest realization for me was actually after I won my Fargo title, because that officially put me number one in my weight class. I wasn't number one pound for pound yet, but I was number one in my weight class. And like for that first day after I went for it was like I blew up, and I like on media all the stuff, and I was like, well, this is insane. And then 2 days later I'm sitting on the couch, I'm like, no one cares. I'm like, what's going on? Everything's just died. So it's like that was the biggest aha moment for me. I realized like at the end of the day, like people care and it's really cool, but it's not as big as people, you can promote yourself, you can make it as big as you want, but I just didn't, maybe because I knew how to attain more. I don't know what it was. Just that stuff, those feelings, that gratification goes away really quickly. So that's why I put my gratification, my faith, and make that stuff more important. Because that gratification, being on top, that's great. It's awesome, but it goes away. So like I had a really fun match Saturday, and it was really cool. All the whole night and stuff, and then the town, and then the next morning it's like, all right, you gotta go practice. So it's like, so I think that gratification goes away, and I don't put myself on a pedestal. I don't put anyone on a pedestal necessarily. I don't really buy into I know these flow and these people build up these people, and I don't want to say characters, but wrote these
Kind
people
of.
so big that's like they're unbeatable. They
Yeah.
can't be touched. And it's like I just don't buy into it. I just really don't buy into it. It's just they're putting these people are unbeatable, and you see some. I think it affects more high schools than do college, because in college it's like you see upsets all the time, and it's college wrestling stuff. But high school, they promote one high school like he's a great thing. Like the kid won't lose, not necessarily because he's better. It's just like these kids don't come out and wrestle. They don't open up against them. They don't really
Mhm.
want to test waters. They don't. There's fear of getting tired. So it's like just not buying into the media, not buying into that stuff. And don't let these platforms promote people like they're Superman, because they're all human. We have the same blood. We breathe the same air. We both get nervous no matter what. So I think just not putting anyone on a pedestal. Like I do that with every single person on this planet, outside of God. You can have people that are role models and heroes for sure, but to the way I mean by not putting them on a pedestal, in the sense of you can achieve that, whatever they're that you can achieve that. Not that like I'm better than them. I didn't mean it like
Mhm.
that, but in the sense of like to think you can't do that is total BS. Why
Mhm.
would you put any limits on your brain? Why would you put any safety net and say like, well, dude, he's this? Like you can go do that. You go put the time in. You go figure it out. Not now. What people struggle with is they expect like I'm practicing and this and that. I'm not getting better. It's like, well, how much research have you done? How much video have you watched? How much stuff did you do on your own, or is coach just feeding it to you? Because if
Mhm.
coach is just feeding it to you, I'm sorry, you're not going to be the best. You have to go do the extra. You got to go think outside the box. You got to go. When you sit at home, or you write notes or journal, like, "Hey, I'm getting better." The craziest thing, because I've been in a lot of local high schools, that some high schools were freaking insane. I'm like, God, these guys are rolling like college, but practice doesn't make perfect. Perfect practice makes perfect, in the sense that they're just chasing their tail like a dog. They're not getting any growth or getting better. They're just working really hard, but they're not developing anything. They're not mentally adding to their arsenal or getting technically better. So it's like you should be writing notes. At least it's my opinion because this is what I do. I go into every single practice with purpose. Yes, coach is going to have to format. Yes, coach probably sees something and they might make that a focus of practice that everyone needs to get better on. But you for sure need to get an inch better every day. It's like, man, I'm really struggling to get my opposite side attack. I really need to make this to this practice focus or the week or whatever it might be or months. But every practice going there with a plan that I'm going to get specifically better at this and actually grow instead of just going to practice being blind and just walking. Yeah, you worked really hard, but did you get any better?
Mhm.
Everyone's working hard. Everyone in the country is working hard, man. There's a lot of people working hard. So it's like, what are you doing to actually get better? Take the time and get better and develop yourself.
When did you figure that out that that piece needed to be integrated into your training? Because, I mean, like you're saying, a lot of people are saying those same things. They're working hard. Everyone's working hard in the country. This is a tough sport. You got to work hard if you want to be decent, but that there's levels to this. And so when did you incorporate that into your training?
Yeah, too late.
Yeah.
uh,
Not too late. Not too late.
Not too late. Yeah, now or never. But
Yeah.
in college, my freshman year, when I was at Oklahoma State, I started realizing like I got in the room, and that was kind of the biggest aha moment. Um,
Mhm.
because I was number one pound for pound. I was like, dude, I don't care who's in this college room. I'm gonna freaking take him out. And I couldn't take anyone down for 3 months. I was like, oh my God, what am I doing? Like this kid was a one-time state champ, but he's in a college room for 4 years, one of the best
Mhm.
college room, and he just developed like crazy. And his positioning's a lot tougher, you know. So it's like, that was kind of like I was like, oh crap, I can't just keep practicing. I have to get better. Like I genuinely have to get better technically and develop. And I just sit, you know, some days you go home to your dad crying on the phone like I suck. Like I thought the best coming out, I freaking suck, you know. So all those emotional moments, and he's actually one that sit down is like you really got to get into journal. Like you have to journal and get better, write stuff down, take notes, be more organized, be more of a professional, and which is easier said than done because we get
Yeah.
we want to do other things. We get out practice. We just want to drink water. We want to go home, eat, sleep, whatever it might be, homework, whatever we got. So it's like it is really hard. It's even though it's just writing in a journal. I get it. It is a lot of time. There's a lot of time, a lot of other things to rather do. It is hard, and I try to be disciplined. I'm not saying I'm perfect, but I try because I'm definitely not perfect. But I think that was the biggest realization with my dad's like, you're at the big leagues now. It's like you have to be a professional. Eating, sleeping, everything has to be a professional. So in that sense of like he's like you have to be organized. Like that was one of my struggles growing up as a kid was organization. My scatterbrain, I still suck at it, you know. So I still try to get better at that. But he's like your scatterbrain, you gotta get locked in, you gotta calm down, you gotta start writing stuff down because clearly you're not remembering it. So writing stuff down, and also when you write stuff down, it's like a statistic, you remember it a lot more often or whatever it might be.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I think just my dad using the terminology being a professional, being a pro, like everything, being a pro is everything, because external sources can screw up everything. So it's like there's a kid on your team that's you're not having good grades. Now he has to go compete against. Well, he's a top guy in the country, but he's got to go compete against another top guy in the country. So like, and he's like, I got an exam due. I'm falling behind this class. Now he's focused on this, but dude, you got the big competition. So it's like you can't let external sources mess with you. So you got to be a pro at everything you do. You know, eat, sleep, school, wrestling, whatever it might be, organization. Everyone's different for everyone, but you got to control the controllables. Now, the stuff that's outside of that, it's part of life. But what you can control as much as you can and throw a lot of effort in. Because if you do that, you can't look back and like, man, I wish I would have done or have all these regrets. You know, so it's
Mhm.
like even if you fell, at least you controlled and did everything you could in the circumstances you're in. So that should alleviate some stress too in itself of going into match or whatever it might be.
Yeah, you feel a little freer that like, okay, I've done everything I can. I put my best foot forward, and the result will be what it will be. You know, like I think Johnny DeJulius says all the time, like you're surrendering to the outcome. The outcome will be what it is. I did everything I could to hopefully get the outcome I want, but at the end of the day, the outcome will be what it is. And I'm okay with that because I did everything I could.
Exactly. And once you do everything, it's like there should be no stress, you know? It's
Yeah.
like work really hard, you know, you're trying to develop, you're trying to do the right things, trying to be a good person. It's like there's should be no stress and it's like obviously we want to win, especially wrestlers. They're the big competitors in the world. Like they want to freaking win, they're freaking pissed if they lose. Like I hate losing. I hate freaking my dad beat me in a game of pool and start talking crap. I freaking lose. I was like, it's just the competitiveness. But I think just doing all the right steps or trying. We're not going to be perfect. We're all human. We're
Right.
all fallible, but trying as much as you can to develop, do the extra should at least alleviate some stress. Not
Yep.
maybe, but should alleviate some, and it should give you confidence of also even if you lose to get better, but also just like not worrying about the losses, not drawing all
Mhm.
putting your head down, and I think that's very important because I still struggle with that to this day where I drag it out really long. Like after I lost in the finals to CLB, I was dragging it out. It's like, can we just have a good time with your family and eat dinner? Like, Kirsten,
Mhm.
if like so. But no, so I think it should get you over those humps and just try. This whole game, this whole sport is just a stepping stone, right? My ultimate goal is to be Olympic champ. So whatever's between point A and point B, I really don't care. I could win this, I could lose this, I could win this, I could lose this, but as long as I get to the end goal, that's what matters.
Yeah. When you were at Oklahoma State and you were getting beat down and it took you so long to get a takedown, I mean, how did you stay positive and like stay like continue to tell yourself that like I am good, I'm getting better, I deserve this, like all that positive self-talk when the result isn't what you want it to be. The result right now is you're getting your butt kicked every day.
I think it's difficult. I think the good thing is I had really good teammates and really good coaches around me. I think I was really lucky with the support system because they still had faith in me. It's not like I just went out the door and I was bad, right?
Hmm.
It's just some learning curves and realizing like this is really normal. This is really okay. Like I forgot who it is. Maybe it's I don't quote me on this. I can't remember if it was Jordan. I'll someone, but they were two-time national champ, but they never won a college wrestle off, inter squad wrestle off. So it's like Coach Perry, my coach lost three of his wrestle offs, and the one he lost, he won a national title that year. So it's like it's crazy. It's just crazy how tough the sport is. So I think just hearing the stories, getting affirmation that like this is normal. It's going to take adjustment. Even though you hear that, it's still not the toll when you're going home and you're sitting by yourself and you're like,
Yeah.
I just got my butt kicked for 2 hours straight. I couldn't stand up for 2 hours straight. Like this, it is a grueling sport. And then I see it with freshmen now in our room, right? I have a kid from Indiana as well who's at the University of Wyoming with him, and he was doing the exact same thing I was at Oklahoma State. You see the struggle. I can't get a takedown. I can't like it sucks. And then you start seeing them in the room throughout the years. Or throughout the months, they're getting really tough. They start getting a lot tougher. They start getting a lot stingier in positioning. Now they're taking that guys down. Now they're freaking ones being the bully. So I think you just get over that. I think there's a legitimate curve in college wrestling in the room. Now you see these young freshmen that come out and beat the top guys in the country, like for sure. But I think in the room, it's a different world, no matter who they're wrestling, because everyone's tight in the room. So, um, yeah, I think just punching through that, realizing if you develop and keep trying, it's going to be limited. You're going to get tougher. You're going to realize, yeah, it sucked. Like when I was there, I'm like, God, I'm gassing out. This sucks. Like this is so hard. Like all these things, you can make all these excuses, but eventually you start beating that curve. You start realizing like, man, I'm getting tougher now. Nah, I'm in this position,
Mhm.
dog. So it's like it's really cool to see the growth because that freshman year I was soft. Like I thought I was tough, and then I realized I was soft, and then I started getting tougher again. Or thinking I was tougher, but it was still soft, but started to get tougher, And it's just a curve. And like I said, I think to answer your question, recap, I think I was very fortunate to have coaches that took the time out and realized like this is normal. Like keep going, keep trucking. You're going to have good days. You're gonna have bad days. I seen the top guys, national champs, being at Oklahoma State. This is that they have bad days maybe 3 times out of the week. Maybe they have more bad days than good days, or they have good days and more good days than bad days. It flip flop all the time, but they can be a national champ and they're still getting taken down by this guy in the room or this guy in the room. And it could be because they're trying and they're actually developing and they don't care about the ego and they're actually just trying to be a better wrestler, which is really huge. But it's wrestling. It's a freak.
Mhm.
So just realizing it and looking around you, like this is normal. Like it's college wrestling. It's freaking tough. Like I still get taken down the room. Like it's a lot of guys. I still, like I said, national champs getting taken down left, right in the room. It's just part of the game. Just gotta get better and just keep being
Who,
tough.
who takes you down now in the room?
Sometimes Joey does. Sometimes he catch me. He's slick.
Sometimes he catches you.
Yeah,
Okay.
he's slick. He's slick. Um, a couple weeks, or I can't remember. He hasn't really taken me down at all. And then he took me down twice or maybe 3 times in practice and rode me out. And I just like not in the room. Once I got in, I
Right.
was like, like I said, it's tough. It's tough. I felt guilty that I'm like, God, I felt like what the. I was like, it's just one practice. It's just one practice that it is. Like, you got to chill. Like, looking back, it's like, what am I doing? It's one practice. Like, it is
Mhm.
get better. That's all I can say.
Mhm.
You know, and you got to keep telling yourself like you're not going to be 100% every practice. And the thing is, you're not going to be 100% when you're competing. And that's the truest thing. You see everyone NCAAs with a knee brace, this, that, banged up. Like, you have to put yourself in that situation. Like, I'm not going to feel the best. And the best thing I heard Coach Perry ever told me was he said, if you feel 100%, it's probably not real. It's probably not authentic because 100% of the time, you're probably going to feel 60%, 40%, 80%. You're never going to feel perfect, especially in college wrestling world. It's too tough. You're banged up, you're sick, you're this or that, whatever it might be, but you're going to still have to go perform like as if you are 100%. So just realizing it's okay to go wrestle the best, not 100%. Like it's completely fine. You're not always going to feel 100%. And NCAA tournament, more than likely, day 3, you're going to feel like crap, total crap. So it's like just being a dog. It's part of the mentality, just being a dog. Like, and I think him saying that actually helped me because when I was like, I'm just when you're sitting there by yourself and like everything's going really bad, it's like you start going back, but you realize like it's okay. Like it is okay not to be 100%. It is completely fine. Like to have that mental safety, maybe it is a safety net, whatever it might be, but like to have that in the back of my like, it's okay. Like I just gotta go be a dog. I gotta go grind this match out. I gotta go be tough. And it's okay. I'm not 100%, but I gotta go make this happen. And I think that's just a really good saying to live by. It's like you're never gonna be 100%, and that's completely fine.
Mhm. Yeah, and you know, I don't mind that you're upset that you may have had a bad practice. I mean, because that shows that you care. That shows that you want to get better. That shows that like, okay, something in this practice didn't go right. How do I fix it so going forward it doesn't happen again? You know, like
For sure.
I know maybe you've been kind of been maybe a little joking about it when you were upset that Joey took you down a couple times in practice, but also it kind of fired you up. It kind of like lights that, it ignites that fire again of like, okay, I do still need to get better.
Yeah. No, I was pissed. I freaking, I didn't make a scene in the room, but when I walked out, I had to walk out of the locker room wrestling.
Yeah.
Yes, but what drove me nuts was actually like, because we were doing these 5 minute goes, a bunch of them in a row, and I ended up getting him like third, and then he took me down again, or he took me down, and I was like, frick. And I took him down right away, and then he took me down and then rode me out, and I didn't like that. And then after that go, I'm like, you're my partner again. I'm like, I was pissed. Like, you're my partner again. He takes me down right away and rides me out, and I was like, I got up. I was like, just trying to keep my composure. The coach like, no, we're switching. I'm like, no. He's like, we're staying the same. I'm like, I'm getting this one. He switches me. Then the last one, I'm like, I got Joey. They're like, all right. I got taken down, rode out again. I was like, this is. I was just so pissed and so fired off. Felt like I was like, I'm gonna get this, and I still didn't get it. So it's like, it is what it is. It's part of the game.
Yeah, and you know Joey's he's pretty good, so you know. How did you know I'm interested in I'm sure some other people are how you wound up at Wyoming. You know, you started out at Oklahoma State, um, and then you went to Iowa State, and now you found your way to Wyoming. I'm genuinely curious because I think a lot of people wonder what happened, but also like they might be going through something similar in terms of like trying to find the right fit. Like everyone thinks it's easy to just, all right, I'm gonna go here and it's just gonna work out perfectly. And that just isn't the case for a lot of guys. So like I'm just curious how that worked for you and how you finally found it seems like the right spot, which is
Yeah,
great.
I think so. Oklahoma State, that staff originally was the best thing in the world. Like I would never been so happy in my life. I loved it there. That was like the greatest thing. When Coleman Scott, all those people were there. Coach Smith, Coach Perry. That was like peace, happiness. Never would have thought I was leaving ever in a million years. I love Stillwater. I love the place. Love the cowboy lifestyle. And when that coaching stuff went down, me and David just didn't gel. I was on a lot of his teams growing up as a kid through middle school and all that, so I knew David solid. And um, I have my own preference. Everyone has their own preference. Some people, we just weren't gelling, and I was super, super loyal to Coach Perry. Like Coach Perry was my ride or die. I mean, we did some like maybe some illegal recruiting things. We were ride or die. Like we're in it
Yeah, yeah, got it.
to win. So he it was just we had a lot of fun, and I was super loyal, and he did so much for way more than I should have. Like the amount of things, if I could tell you, like you'd be like, why is the coach going out this way for a kid? Like I didn't know why. I was like but he did it for all his athletes, every single of his athletes. Like because he's the big guy coach. Every big guy was like Coach Perry went way too far, like in the sense of caring too much. Like he tried to do everything for you because he obviously you wanted to win. He is competitive as it gets. Like, but he cared about his guys. It was more of a relationship than a business for him.
Hmm.
Like
I
really
love that.
really personal to me. It's just like I was ride or die with him, and I was struggling with the like maybe it was a premature decision. Maybe I should have stayed at Oklahoma State. Not saying that was like, I don't regret anything I did, but it's just like looking back, it's like maybe I should have stayed. A lot of people are like, there's a lot of what ifs, but I was like, I love Coach Perry. I'm going to follow him wherever he goes. Like, obviously, I don't want to get transfer schools. This is the last thing I want to do. He went to Iowa State, and he's like, hey, this is where I'm going. I'm like, done. This is where I'm going. I'm going to follow you. And going to Iowa State, to put it in the simplest, most politically correct way, it just wasn't the place for me. Um,
Yeah,
and that's it. That's
that's fair. Yeah.
I get with it. It just wasn't for me. And I can be biased because you can look at the portal when I left, how many people left, but it just wasn't the place for me. And so I went back home training uh, because my dad moved down to Fort Worth area, so Texas. So I started training, commuting back up to Oklahoma to train with Coleman Scott since he was still around and starting his club. And we are talking a lot through these things. And he was like, I think Wyoming would be a really good choice for you. Like, it's really lateral choice to what you had originally, like the lifestyle, the environment, all those things. The coach is an ex Oklahoma State wrestler, it's like, so all these things. And I was like, okay, all right. And that whole time, after my medical rupture, after I was done, or once I was healthy, I was training with Coach Coleman, and he was just I was very fortunate to have him because he was an awesome coach. When he was our head assistant at Oklahoma State, he was the man, like one of the greatest dudes I've ever met in my life. I love him to death too, and he just took care of me when, when I was hurting and going through mental stuff, injuries, all that stuff. So he's a special place in my heart, and I just took his advice very serious too. Um, I was actually going to commit to Indiana because I was like, what do I need? What's going to bring me happiness? So I was like, Mason familiarity, like everyone I wrestled with growing up through the state, club kids, like managed to go back home. Took a visit there. There's a couple schools, Arizona State, some other schools, NC State, yada yada yada. I didn't really go too much into them, but I had some good options, and I was looking around. And I was like, you know what, this is probably best. And I had this guy keep on following me on Instagram. I'm like, who the hell is this? And I was Coach Ford, our assistant coach here, and back, and he's like, you went to visit Wyoming? I was like, yeah. I talked to my dad. He's like, don't leave any stone unturned. Like, you need to go. So took a visit here. And then I know Coach Coleman told me originally, like, this could be a really good place for you, Christian. And I was like, all right. And once I got on campus, the first 2 hours of the visit, I was like, this is a no-brainer. Done deal. This is it.
Wow.
Like, I knew that it felt so just like what I needed for my happiness, which I think I tell everyone this. I think the best version of myself is ultimately the happiest version of myself. Outside the mat, I think if I'm happy outside the mat, you'll get the best version of me in practice, best version of me on the mat. So, to truly sit there and find the best home for me, this was for sure it. The coaching staff, the beauty, the cowboy lifestyle, everything that kind of lines with me lined up here the best. And now you're seeing it translate on the mat. So
How did you navigate the waters? Because it sounds like it could have got pretty rough there for a little bit of leaving Oklahoma State, going to Iowa State at, not being the right fit, then sort of not really regret. I don't want to use that word, but, wondering if like maybe I should have stayed. Like there was a lot of uncertainty there. Did that start to kind of seep into yourself and like make you start doubting yourself and what am I doing? And I mean, there just seemed like there could have been a lot of turmoil just internally questioning yourself and decisions and what am I doing? Like, I don't know.
first, most definitely, like it was a tough mental transition, and I needed reinsurance. Like I had to go to people. I had to ask, like, because I was kind of freaking out. If I'm being totally vulnerable with you right now, I'm totally honest. The minute I left for Iowa State, I said, "Oh crap, what did I do?" That's the first time I was like, "What did I do?" Like this is it was one of the hardest moments of my life, and I was like, this was not the right fit. This is not the. It's something I was a little too gun ho on, and it was just it. I was like the biggest regret. Like I try to have no regrets, but it's just like, and I did what I did, so I'm not going to ponder and look back on it much and meditate on it. But it was just something like, man, I shouldn't have done that. You know, I probably should stay with all my boys that were together for a while. Like this great environment, like no matter what's in front of me, like no place is going to be absolutely perfect, right? So I was feeling all these things in my head, and I was struggling really badly. Missed the guys, missed the environment, missed the people there, missed the town, the school, and I just it sucked. And then I just knew I needed to change that for sure. I was certain on after Iowa State. It's like, and not like I said, nothing against people or anything. Great place, people thrive at the place. You
Yeah.
see one of the top teams in the country, right? So just simply wasn't for me specifically.
And that's totally fine, you
And that
know, like,
exactly that's totally okay. And that I want you know, it just it sucked. And even doing that, even though I know that wasn't a place like publicly, I'm like, oh God, I gotta go to another school. People are gonna kill me and butcher me online, all these things, and all these mental bounds and things I had to get through. And it just I think my faith came in handy. I had I did I the one thing is I didn't sit around and lock myself up. Maybe I did. Maybe I'm guilty of it a little bit, but I had to go to people and I had to let it out. I had to like talk to them and be vulnerable and be a little emotional. Like I'm struggling. Like what do you think? And I need a reinsurance because it just I was struggling. So thank my dad for being a good father and the coaches and the people around me I had to keep pushing me because at one point it's like I was at a point, it's like, do I keep doing this? Like, and as crazy as it sounds, there's a point back in February when I was taking my medical, it's like, I don't know. I don't know what the choice is right now. And not that it was leaning towards it at all, but it was a thought that kept coming around. And my dad's like, no, you got to keep it. Like, I had all these people, pushed me and kept me. And now I'm at my happiest, so I've ever been throughout my college career. So, um, it was tough. It was really tough. But
Mhm.
I think like anything in life, you have valleys, and sometimes you're on top of the mountain, and sometimes you can quickly go slide down the mountain. But you just got to keep going up, and that's part of life. To have everything be perfect, it's not always going to be perfect. I'm just fortunate to have a good support staff, but it was tough. It was extremely tough, and I think anyone else going through that or trying to find a home, it's like you're gonna have people talk, you're gonna have people say this. It's like, but whose opinion really matters? The guy over the keyboard that never done anything, or you there you're trying to make greatness or attempt greatness, right? So I think you're always going to have haters. I think that's great. I think it's great for the sport. As bad as it sounds, and I hate it. I hate reading comments. I hate people talking. It is great for the sport. You need people. You need morale. We need. This is a small sport, not the biggest. It's not football. So if we can get any spotlight, any attention, that's great. And if you don't have anyone hating on you, I'm sorry, you're not doing anything. You're not doing anything in your life. So you need haters because that proves you're doing something. There's a quote I saw the other day. It was something like people that are hating on other people or hating on or talking about other people badly because nobody's talking about them. So like I think that's somewhat true, and you're gonna have haters and people are gonna talk trash, but that's all of life. I mean, in the business world, at least from what my father's telling me, he's like, that's the stuff when you have a family and stuff and you're making tough decisions where your kids might not eat, your wife or your children or this or that or something down the road that's a lot more important. He's like, at the end of the day, he's like, this is college. Like, who cares? This is supposed to be it's supposed to be, fun. This is
Yeah.
sport. It's just sport. Yes, there's business and NIL into it now. So it's a little bit more important. But he's like, you're going to be a lot more stressed down the road in the business world, having a family, having kids. He's like, this is supposed to be the easiest time in your life. So he's like, push all that stuff aside. Like, it's this is short term. You're gonna have a great career, and whatever it is, he's like, whatever you do, I still love you. At the end of the day, I'm not gonna. It's like you win. He's like, you can stop right now. I'm still gonna love you the same. So he's like, it doesn't matter what you do. He's like, just go finish out your career, try to be the best version of yourself, and yeah. So I guess to through all that, I guess I'm just very fortunate to have a good support system. So
Yeah. No, I appreciate you being open and honest and vulnerable because like, yeah, I know as a fan, like there was a point where people were wondering like when you left Iowa State, like, is this the end? Like this, he's gonna be going to his third school in 3 years. Like what, there was a lot of clamoring going on. And since I started doing this and I've started to talk to athletes and some people have similar stories to yours where they're like uncertain and they think they're making the right decision and they don't. And then there's just a lot of uncertainty about being 18 to 23 as well that like just give them a break. Like just let's show a little bit of kindness instead of like jumping on and trying to just kick them while they're down. Like so I appreciate you just being open and honest because I know that you won't be the first. You're not the first. You won't be the last. Like people are gonna do this, And so just telling your story and being like, this is how I did it. This is how it worked for me. So it could work for somebody else type of thing, you know?
Absolutely.
You
Absolutely.
know?
It's one of those, I think it's one of the toughest things in college sports now. Um, it's just, it is what it is. It's part of the game, the transferring portal. And I think doing it for the right reasons are really important, you know? And for me, I felt like in the position I was in, and it doesn't even matter what you're doing it. You know,
Right.
people are always going to talk. It doesn't matter. But I think just realizing like what's ultimately best for you is what you need to do.
Yeah.
Even I don't care. This is going to sound really bad. Even if you're taking a payday, I don't care. I really don't care. If that's what ultimately sets you up best for your kids and family in the next generation, do it because
Hmm.
you only got 4 years of this. That college coach has been through only 2,000 recruits already. He's only been through 1,000 colleges already. You know, he's only going to have another 1,000 more come through. You know, he's going to have kids transferring in and out. And this, you only have one career. Yourself only have one career. So do what ultimately best fits for you, and be selfish. And I think that's important because, like I said, you only got one life. You only got, you know, in the next years, if whoever gets married or have kids, now that's your life. Now that's your role. So you only got a chance to do this 4 years, and that's it. So I think do what ultimately best, you know, and satisfies you to your need.
Yeah. And I think the other thing you talked about was your support system. Uh, Confide in your support system, get a good support system, you know, talk to them and gather some information, their opinions, and yeah, and ultimately make the decision like you're saying that you feel is best for you in that moment with the information you have. I mean, that's all you can do.
I saw like when I left Iowa State, one of my buddies, Cody Chinholm, was one of my good buddies, and he was a top guy coming out of high school, and he was ranked pretty high when he was at Iowa State. But he transferred out. He was trying,
Hmm.
you know, and he went back home to Chattanooga. And he's now he's wrestling at Chattanooga, and he's having a great career, and he's happy. And at the end of the day, I think that's what matters, right? If you're doing this sport and you hate your life, you probably shouldn't be doing it. You know, this
Yeah.
supposed to be an extracurricular. You're there to get a degree. Number one, you know, this is just a small peanuts of life. You know, such as
Hmm.
and and now I see he's doing really well. So it's like you don't have to go somewhere to crazy or big to get the best version of yourself. But you see guys when, especially the NCAA, you see guys from like Citadel knocking off the top Power Five schools and stuff at the NCAA. You see
Yeah.
all the crazy subsets. So it's like you can develop anywhere. You can literally develop anywhere. So as long as you're open minded, want to put the work in, you can be. I truly believe anyone can go anywhere and win. I could be at any school and I still believe I'll be a top ranked guy. It's just part of it's maybe belief, but I think what you truly need to go, what makes you happy. Now, if it's that bigger place, then that's great. That truly makes you, that's great. That's awesome. But do it purely off of happiness. And I think the money, when you start winning, all that stuff will come. Like people are like,
Yeah.
oh, I need to land this. Dude, if you win, it will be there. That's not an option. So I think just ultimately being happy and getting the best version of yourself should be the number one priority, no matter what. Like even if it's for a slightly less payday, like this place really makes you happy. I think in the long run, it's all going to add up, and you're going to 10x that money, you know, whatever it is. You
Hmm.
know, so
Did you really burst onto the scene here? I think we're running a little short on time, but I want to wrap up here by saying like you really burst onto the scene again. I don't want to say again, but like
yeah,
it was like a coming out party again this year. Like I'm back. Was at CKLV, you know? Did you start to really feel maybe like an outpouring of support at that point where people were like, "There's Christian, he's back." Like, oh, that's the guy that we remember. Like, yes, we were so happy, you know, because I know I was when I saw you. I was like, wow, like you know, I remember there was just a lot of stuff going on, and maybe we thought that, you know, like this was the end. And all of a sudden you're like, boom, I'm back, baby. Better than ever. And like did you get a lot of support and people being like, yes, we're so happy for you?
yeah, for sure. I did get a lot of support. The thing is I think it was so cool to be at a tournament like CKLB because we are a small school. We're
Yep.
one university, right? And to get the support outside of the realms of Wyoming people was so cool because we have some of our guys knocking off this guy from Iowa State, this school, that school, whatever it might be. And it's like they love that. The freaking people love the underdog. So it was so cool having that support and you feed off that quick. You know, you start once you get the ball rolling, you can keep rolling pretty quick. You know, you start like, man, I'm good again. And it's kind of one of those aha moments like, am I still good? Can I still knock off these guys? Am I what I was? And you get a little bit, you get an inch, you start taking a mile, you take a mile, you take a 100 miles. So it's like just having that was yes, the support definitely helped and is keeping the ball rolling. Having that belief. I think just ultimately being happy kind of brought that back to me as well.
Yeah.
Um, you're going to go through the valleys. It's like I was in the drought for a while. And that's how I felt mentally, and it sucked. And you just got to keep thinking like you'll be all right, you'll be all right, and then finally you start to pop off again. But it's great. This game's a valley, and you're going to have up and downs. I'm sure I'll go through more throughout the year of up and downs, but to have that back was definitely like it was an emotional thing for me. Yeah, it's one small part of the year, but it was just a testimony to like I can still do this. Um, people had a lot worse than me, so this isn't a Phil sob story for me. But
Yeah.
where I was at, I struggled, and to keep pushing, to keep chipping away every day, not giving up, still trying to reach my dreams no matter where I was at, in position, school, weight, rank, whatever I was at, just to keep pushing to ultimately achieve that dream. And now I'm kind of seeing it start to come to fruition, and it's exciting.
Yeah, and like I said, I feel like a lot of people are jumping back on the Carroll band. Not saying they ever left, so I don't want to say they like jumped off, but like all of a sudden the bandwagon's starting to get louder again, you
For
know?
sure. No one's there when no one's yeah, how are you doing, buddy? When you're down in the valley, they're always there to support you when you're on top, and that's part of life. But I still take it no matter what. Win or lose. I'm
Mhm.
glad I still have people to support me, and I did have a lot of people when I was down low. I had a lot of people help me and support me. And
Mhm.
I'm very, very fortunate for those people, and I think that's why I'm where I'm at right now. Is honestly those people. So I'm very fortunate, and it's exciting. I'm excited.
Yeah. Yeah, me too. And Wyoming does a phenomenal job with their wrestling program in terms of like promoting it. Like the one year they wrestled in a barn,
Yeah.
and that was super
Yeah.
sick. Their home mat, like they had I think you posted a picture of it, a skylight, not a skylight, but like an overview cam of you wrestling Mirasola, and the mat, the Wyoming wrestling mat is just sick. Like
It's really cool.
you guys just do like they just do it right,
What's
you know?
so cool is we are the only four-year college in the state, so it's like everyone is a Wyoming fan. I mean,
Mhm.
the amount of people I talked to at the door, like, yeah, we drove 4 hours to watch this. We drove 4 hours because you only got one team to root for. It's Wyoming. So we have no pro teams. We have nothing. It's the University of Wyoming. We have in our facility one Wyoming because we're it.
Mhm.
For our sports and everything in our state. So I think it's really cool, and the sport is huge. From all the old timers, all the old cowboys coming out. It's really cool. And one of my favorite things is on a cyber mat, you're speaking of a mat, is it says welcome to 7,200 feet of elevation, which is my favorite part of the mat.
Yeah. Yeah, when when you were coming out of high school, you probably envisioned yourself being a cowboy. Um, you just never thought it'd be a Wyoming
Sorry,
cowboy, huh?
cutting out.
Oh, you're good. I just said when you were coming out of high school, you thought you were going to be a cowboy, but you never probably thought you were going to be a Wyoming cowboy. But that's probably the plan God had for you, right?
Always, always. You don't know. I always say you're a horse. Every human's a horse with blinders. You can only see what's in front of you, and God's the one that can see all around you. So
Mhm.
ultimately, has the best school. Just because we think this is the right way doesn't mean it's ultimately the right way. So
Yeah. And do you dye your hair blonde? Do you
yes,
bleach your
well,
hair?
my girlfriend did, but yes.
No, she didn't. What is why? I guess.
I
Is
don't
it
know.
just
Midlife crisis? I don't know. I was just bored. We're
yeah.
like, we're talking one night. Me and her went out to eat, and she's like, oh man, you should probably dye your hair blonde. I was like, huh? She's like, yeah. I was like, it's like, all right. 10 minutes later, we're going to the store, we're buying stuff.
What'd she think?
Maybe she's being nice. I don't know. I can't tell. She says she likes it, but I
Yeah.
hope she really does. But um, I'm excited for my regular hair to grow back out. So,
Yeah.
but yeah, no, it was a cool, fun little thing to do. I don't think I'll do it again, but it
Mhm.
was fun.
Yeah. When you walked into practice the first time, did you get a lot of like looks
Yeah,
like what?
and so many people were like, "What did you do?" Like why? They're like, "Why?" I got a lot of whys. I was like, "I don't know. I was just bored. I wanted something different, something to jazz it up." So it was really just a spontaneous decision. So not a lot of thought to.
Mhm. Yeah. All right. Yeah. Well, did you like maybe make a bet with like Joey or like Coach Branch or Willishell or any of the guys and be like, hey, if I do X, Y, Z, you have to dye your hair blonde next or something?
So some of the guys were like, "Dude, we should." So it wasn't betting. They were like, "Oh, we should do this, dude. We should do this now." I heard this day in the room. We have this guy named Gunner. He's clean shade, bald, and they're like, all the guys that are going to the arena were like, "We're all going to shave our head bald." I was like, "No, please don't. We're going to go as a group all bald. So I think all of them are going to shave their heads going to Reno. So
What about you?
no,
No. Okay.
no. I'll sit. I already did mine. I'll sit out on this one.
Thanks again for listening to this episode of the Let's Talk Wrestling podcast. Special thanks to my guest, Christian Carroll, for taking the time to sit down and chat with me. Cover art created and designed by Kristen Gill. Please feel free to rate, comment, and subscribe to the podcast. You can also check me out on Twitter, Instagram, and my Facebook page to do more of my content. And if you like video, I have a YouTube channel, Let's Talk Wrestling. Don't forget also, you can check out my website at letstalkwrestlingpodcast.my.canva.site. And as always, be sure to tune in to hear the next guest of the Let's Talk Wrestling podcast. Take care. See you next time.